Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Monotooi, coach of the Tampa Bay Luxrays, and if you can't tell by my voice, I am still a little bit sick. I'm feeling a little bit better from when I recorded the team builder, but still a little bit under the weather. I'm not going to be using face cam because I look gross, but today I'm bringing you guys our Week 6 match versus Electric Storm 252, Jack of the Melbourne Victory Stars. His links will be in the description below, as well as the PPL, YouTube, Twitter, and the rest of the Division 2 coaches. Now, I do have an entire team builder dedicated to my team. However, I will give a quick rundown. We have our physically defensive Nidoqueen meant to take on his Tyrantrum, which he actually did not bring. We have our Mega Lopunny. We have our Assault Vest Tyranitar. We have our Assault Vest Reuniclus, physical defensive Regenerator. We have our Life Orb 4 attacks Whimsicott, and we have our specially defensive Zapdos. Now, because he did not bring Tyrantrum, the speed investment on Zapdos is useless, and Nidoqueen is a little bit less useful because that's what it was made for. So Nidoqueen's main job is just going to be to get up rocks, maybe pivot around the Raikou. So yeah, that is basically what I'm thinking. He didn't bring a couple things that I expected him to bring, actually. Like, he didn't bring the Piloswine, which I thought was necessary for my Zapdos. Like I said, he didn't bring the Tyrantrum, didn't bring the Starmie, so I was a little bit surprised by that. But looking at his team, he's got Gourgeist, Togekiss, Victini, Zoroark, Raikou, and Licky. Licky is going to be annoying, but I do have my Mega Lopunny, of course, and I do have fighting coverage on some of my things. So yeah, that's that. I'm going to stop talking, and I am just going to get this battle started. It's a very good battle. Hope you guys are looking forward to it. So, I'm going to leave with my Nidoqueen just wanting to get rocks up. His only defogger is the Togekiss, which I have a safe switch in my Zapdos every time too. So he's going to lead Licky, and I have free rocks here. I can just set them up. This thing can't really do too much to me. He's actually going to reveal Earthquake, which I can take relatively well because I am physically defensive. And even with a crit, that is not going... Wait, spoilers, it's a crit. That's not going to be a 2 KO. So that's really good for me. I don't want to take another Earthquake. I want to save my Nidoqueen to maybe switch into the Raikou later on. So I'm going to go out into my Zapdos. I don't want him to Thunder Wave, predicting another switch out. So I do just go for Zapdos. He just goes for Knockoff, which is fine. Gets rid of my Zapdos leftovers. That's totally fine. I'm now going to go for Toxic. Because he has shown Earthquake and Knockoff, and I'm assuming he has Wish and Protect, I don't think he's going to want to have Heal Bell. He could be Wish Heal Bell, but without Protect, he's very... I figure he'd have Protect because Lopunny's High Jump Kick, obviously. That would be very good, but here, I know he's going to want to switch out. He's going to get stalled out by my Zapdos. He does not have Toxic, and he's going to go out into his Raikou, as I just go for the Volt Switch, which is going to be good for me because I can get momentum and then switch out into whatever I want. And I actually decide, as you'll see in a second, I could have gone out to Lopunny here, just fake out, killed it with a High Jump Kick afterwards, but I didn't want to risk a miss. I'm actually going to go out into my Reuniclus and go for Future Sight. He doesn't have a Dark type on his team. There's nothing that really appreciates taking a Future Sight. And I am Assault Vest, so I can take any hit. He's going to go for the Volt Switch, does decent damage, and he reveals to be Life Orb, which is very good information to have, meaning that he will be wearing himself down relatively quickly. He is going to send in his Licky once again, and of course this thing, again, like I said, is just going to be an annoyance to my team, but I am going to be able to go for the Future Sight, which will pressure his team pretty decently, because of course it is a stab. Future Sight from the Reuniclus, so even though I'm not special attack invested. So now I'm going to switch out, back out into my Zapdos. I don't want him to knock off my Assault Vest. I would still like that to be a better pivot for things like the Raikou. So I'm going to keep that and just go out in my Zapdos like I just said. And again, dodge potential T-Wave, whatever he wants to do. If he has it. I don't think he has it because again, I'm thinking like Wish, Protect, knock off EQ, but just in case. But now he is going to switch out. I actually didn't think he would. I didn't think he'd switch out because he doesn't have much else to take a Volt Switch and all that, but he does. And I actually just go for the Roost, which is good because I'm getting back to full health and take on Raikou a little bit better. Also, I'm even HP. That's my fault. I accidentally did that, but it doesn't come into play really because it doesn't look like he has rocks on anything. So here, he's going to send out his Victini which threatens me. I didn't want to take a V-Create, so I didn't go for a Volt Switch. I just hard switched out into my Nidoqueen, which is my most expendable member, as he actually sets up a substitute, which was a little bit scary, because Victini behind a sub is scary. However, I do have the Sucker Punch, and I can take this thing on relatively well, because I am physically defensive. I can actually take a V-Create from here. And again, just the Sucker Punch will be able to break this thing's sub. But he actually just reveals the Blue Flare, being special, which, surprisingly enough, I can take as well, because Nidoqueen is a monster. So that is really good for me. Again, I apologize if my commentary is not great. I'm a little bit under the weather, but here I either predict him to sub, predicting my Sucker Punch, or to switch out, so I'm just going to go for an Earth Power to potentially break its sub. Just get damage on anything that wants to come in, as he sends in his Licky Licky once again. And this is going to take this Earth Power very well, because Licky Licky is just really, really fat. People keep making fun of it. I don't know why. It's so good. It's a cleric, it wishes, it's fat, it's got a great move pool because it's a normal type. You know, it does all those things. But anyway, like I said, I don't need my Nidoqueen for anything really. Like, again, the thing it was mainly for is not here, so I can just leave this thing in to die while getting damage off on this Licky Licky. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Just going to keep spamming Sludge Wave until this thing dies, which will hopefully happen soon, but he protects, so we know it's a full moveset, doesn't have Toxic, doesn't have T-Wave. It is exactly what I thought it'd be: Wish, Protect, Knock Off, EQ, which is a little bit interesting, but it definitely makes sense. Its knockoff is good, Earthquake is good prep, but yeah. So, like I said, also what's good about this is the longer he does this, like the longer he Wish, Protects, tries to get himself healthy, the more HP I'm getting back from Black Sludge. So like earlier, I was at like 10 HP, but now I'm back to like a third, and he actually goes for knockoff for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why, if he was predicting a switch or something, but this is good for me because the Toxic is now going to bring him down to a point where I can just knock him out with Sludge Wave, and he cannot kill me with, well, he has to now come into with something else to kill me, which means that I will get initiative after I was just trying to stack this Nidoqueen anyway. So he's going to send out his Togekiss, and I make not a bad play. This is a fine play. I actually decided to save my Nidoqueen for Fodder because he still has things like Victini that I might have to like stack things to. Like I would, you know, want to stack my Nidoqueen, so I just saved that for Fodder. And I know my special defensive Zapdos can take any hit from this, so I go out into it, as it reveals to be offensive. And by that damage, I'm thinking Scarf, because it's not Specs, obviously it's not Life Orb. It does outspeed me, meaning it has some speed investment, so I'm thinking Scarf, which is not going to matter too much because I can just go in to make a little plenty. Because I'm thinking it's offensive without a lot of HP investment, I can come in and just kill it with a, okay, well, this is going to happen. This I was told this was happening, and it did. Anyway, I can just come in with my Mega Lopunny and just knock it out with the Fake Out. This is exactly what I do, which is great, because Togekiss can be annoying. It now cannot trick anything on my team, which is really good. Can't flinch me to death, which would be obnoxious, but he's going to go out into his Gourgeist, and I don't think this is the proper time to set up a sub. Like, I will not be able to KO this thing from where it's at. I can just high jump kick it, he can break my sub, I set up another sub, but then he can potentially Synthesis. So once again, I'm just going to go out into my Nidoqueen and just sack it off like I've been trying to do this entire game. As he is going to reveal Leftovers, which is good, because no Polar Berry, good information to have, no Kebia Berry for potentially Shadow Ball from something, but anyway, I'm going to fire off a Sludge Wave, and I actually am able to do a massive amount because of a crit, but he makes a good play, goes for Synthesis, bringing himself back to max HP, which again, was a good play. So the crit didn't really matter, he's back to about where he would be anyway, maybe a little bit under, but either way, Nidoqueen is finally going to go down, which is, like I said, something I've been trying to do most of this game, but now I can head out into my Zapdos and use this as an opportunity to get my Zapdos back up to a good amount of HP, because I want to be able to switch into that Raikou. I want to be able to take on the Victini now that I know it's special. But he's going to burn me, which was a good play, wearing my Zapdos down. I don't have the leftovers anymore, so I will be taking 12% each turn. However, I do have a free Toxic here. Nothing on his team is immune to it, and his Cleric is gone, or his potential Cleric is gone, so I can just hit whatever comes in with a Toxic, as it is going to be his Raikou. Which is great, because this thing is Life Orb, it'll be taking the Toxic damage plus Life Orb every time it tries to attack me. So this is perfect for me. I'm just going to go for the Toxic. It is going to get poisoned, of course, that's what happens. Well, badly poisoned, I guess. And yeah, I'm just slowly wearing down his team, making it easier to obtain a Lopunny sweep at the end, which is typically how I go about these games, because Mega Lopunny has been doing a very good job at that so far. He's going to go for the Thunderbolt, and I decide to Roost right here. Probably should have gone for the Volt Switch just to gain myself momentum, but I thought, you know, I can take 2 hits from this, let's just go for that. So I go for the Roost, but it's looking like I can't take another one. And I decide to save my Zapdos. I think he's going to go for another Thunderbolt, so I go out into my Reuniclus, which is exactly what he does. If your Reuniclus is going to be able to tank this, like, it's no problem. And then I can just fire off a Psychic, which I believe is what I do. Actually, no. I expect him to, like... Let's see what happens here. Okay, no. I expect him to actually go for, like, a Shadow Ball or something. Like a Shadow Ball, a Volt Switch, something along those lines. So I actually go out into my Tyranitar, which is Dissolve Vest, and can take this thing on, and he doesn't really have a good switch into. But, and this is an important part of the match, so I'm just going to pause it real quick. He sends in his Victini, which is not a Victini. This is Zoroark. You can tell by the Stealth Rock damage it took previously. And my next play is probably not necessarily a misplay, but not my most optimal play, we'll call it. So I knew this is a Zoroark. I didn't miss the Rock's damage and was like, oh god, I got caught off guard. I didn't really have a safe switch into Zoroark at this point. Like, my Zapdos is weakened, it'll die to 2 hits. I can't risk my Lopunny, can't really risk anything. So I'm actually just going to let my Tyranitar go down this turn to a low kick. I was thinking if he has Focus Blast, then I can live it because of my Assault Vest. If he has anything other than low kick, I will be able to live it, but he does reveal the low kick, and I am just going to go down, which is a little bit unfortunate, but not a huge deal, because now I can send out my Whimsicott and basically kill something, because he doesn't have a switch into a Life Orb Whimsicott at this point. Even Victini will die to Moonblast plus Shadow Ball. So he's going to make the good play, sack off his Raikou. So to the Moonblast. Also, the part where I said it was likely a misplay, I should have just sacked off my Zapdos. Like, I didn't need it. It was at 50%. It was not going to be switching into the Raikou, can really switch into Victini, so I should have just sacked that off, but it's not a huge deal. Whimsicott's going to knock out the Raikou, and he is going to send out his real Victini this time. And I calc it, I know I cannot kill this thing with a Shadow Ball from where it's at, so I have to switch out. And this is where I decide to sack my Zapdos. Also, I knew if he went for a substitute, I could kill him afterwards with the Shadow Ball, because he basically Shadow Ball did about 50%, and I'd be able to knock him out after that, but he does not. He just goes right for the attack, and actually is unable to kill me with the Blue Flare, meaning that he does not get the kill, which is a little bit unfortunate for him, but, you know, it doesn't hurt me, so, you know, sorry. But anyway, I'm now going to send out my Mega Lopunny, and I don't want this thing to be kind of physically defensive, because Return was not 100% an OHKO if he had some HP investment, so I'm just going to go right for a Fake Out, followed by a Return, which would have knocked it out. However, he makes another pretty good play and switches out into his Gourgeist. Not that it's an amazing play, like, you know, this thing was made to take on my Lopunny. Also, if he did... also, I'm winning the game with Whimsicott at this point, or near close to Whimsicott, because he has Zoroark left, he has this thing left with that Shadow Ball and Victini, which has a Shadow Ball after Rocks. But this is a crucial point in the match. Here, I'm going to pause it real quick. He makes not a bad play at all, because if I did not have Sub on this would have been the proper play to pull this double. But I go for the Fake Out, hits the Gourgeist, he does not take too much damage, and then he doubles into Zoroark, predicting my Reuniclus to want to come in, because I can hit pretty much anything hard with a Shadow Ball, because he has Victini left, he has Gourgeist left, both of which are hit by a Shadow Ball, and he has Zoroark left, which is not very bulky, will be taking decent damage, and I could potentially predict and go for Focus Blast on. So, that was a pretty good play on his part. However, because I have Substitute on this Lopunny, and because everything is in range to die from 2 returns or 2 high jump kicks at this point, I do just go for the sub, predicting him to either pull this double or to just go for a Will-O-Wisp, trying to burn me and cripple me. So I'm going to go for the Substitute, and basically his only chance now is if he can live 2 hits with his Gourgeist. So he is going to go out into the Gourgeist, but because of the Stealth Rocks, as well as a little bit of previous damage beforehand, I am going to be able to 2-hit KO this thing. So I'm going to go for a return, and as you guys can see, that does a lot of damage. And I couldn't tell exactly if it was a 2-hit KO with return. It looked like it was, but I didn't want to risk it. So I just go for a high jump kick. I do connect, and that is going to knock out the Gourgeist. And now I 100% win the game. I 100% win the game with this Mega Lopunny. There's nothing he has that can take a hit from it. If Zoroark has Sucker Punch, obviously I have a sub up, and of course I resist it, so even if I didn't, but I'm going to go for the return, going to knock out the Victini, and it is going to go down. And now all he has left is the Zoroark. Even if he's somehow magically like an Infiltrator, Psychic, Scarfed Zoroark and kills me, I have my Whimsicott in the back, which can outspeed and kill with Moonblast, so he's going to go for the Sucker Punch, and my sub is going to break, and then I'm going to knock it out with a return, and that is going to be a good game, Jack, and a 3-0 victory for the Tampa Bay Luxrays. And this is huge. I'm just going to send this back. This was a pretty big win for me, because Jack was 4th on the league table. He had a chance to catch up to me if he had won. Well, not that he had a chance right after he beat me, because if he beat me, because I would still be ahead of him, but beating me would have really helped him out, would have made it so that I had the same record as Paul, which puts a little bit more pressure on me, because then I have to keep winning, because it looks like Paul's going to keep winning. So yeah, this was just a very big win for me. He didn't really make too many misplays, I think. I think really the only, I think the only thing he probably could have done differently was kill my Nidoqueen earlier with his Lickitung, or his Licky Licky, because it was going down anyway with the poison racking up on him, and I just kept getting Black Sludge. And B would have been to probably not hard switch out into Gourgeist. That was a tough call at the end as well, because he needed Victini, he needed Zoroark, he needed his Gourgeist at the time, so he hard switched out into Gourgeist, hoping he could take 2 hits when he could not have. So maybe his better play would have just been sack the Zoroark, break my sub with Sucker Punch, and then go out into Gourgeist. But I'm actually not entirely sure what its set was. It may not have been able to touch me behind a Substitute. But that, again, very good game, Jack. Next week we have another very important match against Ruby Marrow of the Cleveland Bros, whose team I didn't like in the beginning, and then the more I looked at it, the more I actually liked it a lot, because it only has 8 Mons, but they're all very good Mons, first of all, and they're not as one-dimensional as I originally thought, so we're going to have a tough time there. But anyway, again, I apologize for this lackluster commentary, but thank you guys very much for watching, and we will see you next week.